What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going over the total cost to build this Jeep WJ. This is pretty much the best budget-friendly Jeep WJ build you can build. It's basically just the minimum you need to do to make these things super capable. Obviously, you could do a little bit less and still have a capable Jeep, but this is just basically, this will keep up with the Wrangler. We'll just say that. So this will keep up with the Jeep on 40s, lockers, all that kind of stuff. So super capable Jeep all around. And it's pretty cheap to do yourself. So we'll start with the price of the Jeep itself. So I paid $3,200. It's a fairly clean 2001 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo, about 150,000 miles on it, and it runs really good. So let's go ahead and start with some of the big stuff. For starters, it has an Iron Rock off-road 6.5-inch Rocklink Pro lift kit. And the lift kit is probably my favorite lift I've ever installed on a Jeep. This thing travels so crazy. Like, it's just insane for off-road use. I would definitely recommend going long arms on these things because it completely changes how capable these Jeeps are. Now, this lift kit does come in at a little bit of a price tag, and that price would be $3,200. Now, that is a lot. However, it comes with a lot as well. This is a 100% complete lift kit when you order it, so you get every component you're going to need to lift this Jeep and have it work how it's supposed to. That's shocks, coils, links, brackets, sway bar disconnects, all that kind of stuff you're going to need in order to get your Jeep to perform right. So you are going to have to trim some parts of your Jeep if you want to run the 37s like we're running on this Jeep. However, you could run a smaller tire and have to trim a whole lot less, or not at all if you wanted to. But this lift kit is probably a top tier lift kit in my opinion for the Jeep WJ. I'm not sure other lift kits that would compete with it. It's by far my favorite lift kit. And like I said, it comes with literally everything. That's why it's so expensive, but it's definitely worth it. I will say I spent probably $2,000 on the Wrangler lift kit, and it does terrible in comparison to this lift kit on the WJ. And as you guys can see just how much travel this thing has, this Jeep is absolutely insane. I can't wait to get it on the rocks. And it's definitely worth every dollar in my opinion. It has a 4-link rear, 3-link front, and the travel is great on this thing. The ride is really good as well, especially for a lifted Jeep. They're not going to ride like brand new, but this one rides really well on the road. And don't get me wrong, you could go a cheaper route on the lift kit, and there's nothing wrong with that. It just depends on what you plan on using your Jeep for. For example, we now know this Jeep is on a 6.5-inch long arm kit. And the other Grand Cherokee I have, the black Grand Cherokee that I've had forever, the one that we just broke wheeling in the snow, that Jeep is actually on a 4-inch zone lift, which is only $700. That's a much cheaper option, and it still does great. It does pretty good on easier trails. We're just not planning on taking that one on the trails we're going to be taking the Wrangler and this blue Jeep on. It was never built to do that, but there is other options if you guys don't want to spend as much. So now, once you lift it, you're going to get bigger tires and wheels. It's just a normal thing to do. I have some Ironman All Country MTs. These happen to be 37 1250 R17s. So they're a fairly big tire, and they're on some Pro Comp wheels. Now, that whole setup you can buy as a package, or at least you could when I purchased these, and it was about $1,200. Now, that's actually not terrible when you consider how much 37s are, how much a set of wheels are, and these came mounted and balanced. So it's just super simple. Slap them on the Jeep, bolt it up, and you're good to go. Now we'll start in the front. So I have some Spider headlights on this Grand Cherokee, and we all know the factory headlights on these things are junk. They're absolutely terrible, and they're definitely worth replacing. These were about $220. They have gone up a little bit, and they're still, in my opinion, worth it. They're super bright, and I'm super pleased with how they turned out. They give the whole Jeep a better look, in my opinion, a more modern look. Also on the front of the Jeep, we have our aluminum hood vents. So we went ahead and made a hood vent specifically for the Grand Cherokee, and I'll show you what I mean when I open the hood here. So we actually ended up taking the hood off of my Jeep and designing these around the cross members and braces in here, so you don't have to cut any of the supports for your hood. You cut in between them. There's already a template on there where to cut, and they're super easy to install. And obviously they provide a lot of airflow with how big they are. So it's a super important mod if you're going to be wheeling. These things tend to overheat a little bit. And we made them all aluminum, so you don't have to worry about corrosion. If you don't want to paint them, they won't corrode, they won't rust or anything like that. So now let's go ahead and move towards the back of the Jeep. So I did get the matching rear tail lights just because it was really bothering me that they didn't match. For the WJ, these are also the Spider taillights, and I'm also super pleased with these. These actually are pretty sick, and they match the front ones almost perfectly. I believe those were also about $200 to $220. So all in, headlights and taillights, you're looking at $450 to $500, but it's definitely worth it. It gives the Jeep a much more modern look, and in my opinion, they look way better. And the old ones didn't look too great to begin with, so we went ahead and upgraded them and went with these, and I'm super happy with those. Now, obviously, you could not do headlights and taillights on your build. It's kind of up to you. I just did it because I think it looks better, and it was a cool video to make. So now we'll move on to the interior. So I do actually have a couple interior mods from Najar Off-Road. So I have his LED panel or LED lights behind my dash. So obviously it's daytime, they're not going to be very bright, but I have LED lights back there, and I actually really like that. It's much better, and I had some lights missing, so that turned out great. I also have his LED interior light kit, so all LEDs on the interior of this Jeep, and I'm definitely happy with that upgrade. These overhead lights are so bright. When you open your doors at night, it shines on the ground underneath, so it turned out really good in my opinion. So that brings the grand total to building this Jeep to around $8,300. Give or take a few dollars here and there depending on what you have to pay for the products now, because everything's getting a little bit more expensive. But all in, to build a very capable Jeep that can keep up with the Wrangler with no problems. And this is, in my opinion, probably the most capable you can build a Grand Cherokee for under $9,000 and keep up with Wranglers and honestly embarrass Wranglers. I think this would outwheel my Wrangler any day. About $8,300, which all in is not bad because that Wrangler was like $52,000, I believe was what we came to for the total. So this Jeep is a super great Jeep to build, great platform to build, and relatively cheap to build when you compare it to some other models out there. So we actually are getting ready to begin on working on the 1-tons for this Jeep. We have a ton of plans for this. So this is kind of just phase 1 of the build. So we got the 1-tons over here in the garage. I began tearing these down a few months ago, but then I got sidetracked with buying another Jeep and building it. We're going to begin tearing these down. I already started on the front, tear them down, clean them up, weld the trusses on, then put them all back together and rebuild them and get them thrown under the Jeep. Should be super sick when it's done. Also, I got my steering tie rod ends. So now I'm just waiting on my links to come in, and if you guys did not already know, we are going to be offering 2 different steering kits for the Grand Cherokees. Be offering a 2.5-ton steering kit and a 1-ton steering kit, and let me just tell you, these things are going to be absolutely beefy, definitely the strongest on the market, so I can't wait to show you guys that. Just waiting on my links to come in so that way we can test everything and make sure everything works out good. Once that's all said and done, we'll go ahead and release those to the market, so make sure you guys keep an eye out for that. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching these videos. You guys have been killing it with the support, so thank you guys so much for that. And as always, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.